This is Jacqueline with Nickel and Dime Decor. Thank you so much for joining me and spending a little time with me today. We are cutting our table topper with using 5-inch squares, a charm pack if you have it. If not, cut your own 5-inch squares. That's what I've had to do. I didn't have a charm pack that I wanted to use. Our pattern comes from leisurearts.com and you can order it. The book is called 3 Times a Charm, but you don't have to. I will have this posted after the video, and you can do a screenshot or take a picture with your phone or whatever, and it'll give you how to cut it and all the measurements and everything that you need. All right, 28 5-inch squares. Well, if you notice, the picture is scrappy. There's, these are your focal point, the 3.5-inch squares in the middle. Well, they're all different, and that's what you can do. Mine is a little bit different version, and you do whichever one you want. If you have 28 different, totally different charm 5-inch squares, it's fine. This is what, I'll put the camera down and we'll see what we've got. This is what I did for my center squares. This, and this has already been subcut. These are my 3 focal point patterns, and there's 3 of each. So I have 9 squares. The next thing I've done is put together 9 squares to frame the 3.5-inch blocks. They are 1.5 by 4.5. Your next set, there's 9 of those, 9 of these. There are 10 of these, and they are for your border. That's all there is. 3 focal for the center pieces, 3 of each. Total of 9 5-inch squares, 9 5-inch squares for your framing around your 3.5-inch and for your borders. 10 of those, so for a total of 28. Okay, now how are we going to subcut these? Just in 3 different ways. This stack is going to be cut like this. 3.5-inch square, 1.5 by 4.5. Okay, if you take 1.5 and 3.5, that's your 5-inch square. You have no leeway. So you have to make very accurate cuts on your 5-inch square. I find that the easiest way was to just find your 1.5 inch, cut your 1.5 inch right here, and that leaves you enough to cut your 3.5-inch square over here. You'll have just a tiny, tiny little piece left. So you're going to subcut that. You're going to subcut these. And you will have still your 9 when you get them done. 3.5 square and 1.5 by 4.5. That's the first set. The next set that we will subcut is for our framing. And since mine are patterned, my centerpieces are patterned, I wanted to go as much as I could with kind of a solid. I couldn't do it. I mean, I have to use some of my prints. There's 9 of these, and these are going to be cut into 3 1.5s. Just cut. You can use your big ruler. You can use whatever you want. You can use just this mat if you're more comfortable with that. Find your 1.5. Put it on there and cut away. And you'll want 3 of those. Very simple. That's all you'll have left. You will do each and every one of these just like this. Now, these are 5-inch. You've got to trim them down. Once you get them all done, don't forget, you'll have to trim them to 4.5 because they are originally 5-inch squares. 1.5 by 4.5, and you do each one. Then we have 10 squares left for our borders. There's nothing to do for them except cut them in half. Take your 5-inch, cut it in half, just like I've done right here. That's all you do for your borders. Just cut that right in half. Okay? That's it. That's all of the cutting. Of course, you've got your binding and your backing, but for the top, that's. Now, if you'll note, this and this are not even in my other squares, but I didn't have enough kind of solids, so I'm using some of them that aren't really. This is not in my, and this is not in my. These 3 are not in my patterns, but I'm using them in my border. Okay. Quite simple, huh? That's it. That is all there is to it. You can do this. The first set is your 9 center pieces. We'll go over it one more time. 3.5-inch square, 1.5 by 4.5. Do each one. There's 9 of them. You do each one. Then for your frame, I call them framing squares. Cut 3 1.5 by 4.5 out of each one. Borders, cut each out in half. There's 10. That's it. All right, I'm going to take you into the other room, and I want you to see my fall one all cut out and laid out, ready to sew. And I'll show you how we kind of how I decided how to frame it and what to put on. And so, well, I'll be right back. Okay, guys, here's how it's kind of going to look. I want you to notice that, see, you've got the way it kind of comes out. You have, okay, let's just start with the blue, this blue. What I tried to do, I did one on the bottom, this on the right, and that on the left. I just tried to balance my ratio of colors. Okay, go with this one. No, you can't see that one. Okay, let's just pick out this blue. On the top, on the left, and on the bottom. You see what I'm saying? You just kind of mix and match. Here's the cream colored up here, and it's on the left, that's on the right over there, and it's on the bottom over there. So see, I'm just trying to get a good balance of all of my colors. And I realize that this print right here is going to be diagonal with that, but I have tried to rearrange, and that's just the way it's going to be. So it's okay. I mean, oh my gosh, don't sweat over it and work with it, you know, just get a good balance and go with it. Nobody's gonna, it's yours. Nobody's gonna be paying any attention anyway. Okay, well, next week we'll just get busy sewing, and we'll make a block. So all I gotta do is make one block for you, and you've got it. You can do it. No problems. And see, we have nothing. We just, after we make the blocks, we just combine them. There's nothing in between after because this is already your sashing, more or less, to speak. So, what do you think? I think it's going to be okay. And those way over there are the border pieces. I didn't lay them out because I didn't have room for you to see it all. Well, that's it for today. I'm so excited that you might want to make this. I hope you do. It's such a good way to get rid of fabric. It's such a good way to have something you'll be proud of, and it would make a wonderful gift. So here's fall, and in the other room was Christmas. We're going to have both of them knocked out before you know it. Thanks for watching, and God bless.